Welcome back to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And as you can see here, it's been a pretty rough week. Aside from my favorite movie of the year so far, Project Hail Mary, everything else I've seen this week has just been pretty rough, to say the least. I mean, there are some really boring fucking movies. Nothing heinous as last week, thankfully, like Scared to Death, but man, this was a really rough week. And I'm just going to start out by saying Project Hail Mary is my only good film, as you see right here. It's the best movie I've seen this year. If you haven't seen my review for it, it'll be right here, I hope. I'm gonna, that just goes more in depth, and I don't feel like repeating takes I already said in a 12-minute long video, I believe. But this is one of the better movies this year. I mean, so far it's the best movie this year, and at the end of the year, there's a chance that it's still number one. I mean, we'll see how I feel. This movie's been doing really good box office wise. It just seems like every other week, it just keeps getting more and more people going in. I mean, word of mouth is one hell of a fucking way to get, your box office going up, and Project Hail Mary is absolutely killing it in that department. As for the bad, I do have three movies this week. I guess one of them is technically like a documentary, but these all could fall into good on a better day, I guess. I'm not really sure. All of these were very just mediocre to me, and these could fall on the good side of being mid, but just for my sake and, having the video have a bad section at least, I'm gonna have to put them all here. I mean, they are all 5 out of 10s for me. Maybe Ready or Not 2 could be a 4 out of 10, but I just didn't really care for any of these projects. I guess we'll start off with Ready or Not 2, a video I was going to do a review on, but I decided not to because just don't really have anything to say here. And I think I'd just be complaining for 7 minutes straight. And while I do think it is mid and there are a lot of good moments, like how much they push into the comedy in this movie, I think is really good. And I think that is the carrying factor of this movie is just the comedy and nothing else. And I think Elijah Wood a lot has to do with that. I mean, every time the camera pans to Elijah Wood, he's just always doing this goofy ass faces, and like the entire end sequence is probably just carried by him, honestly. If it wasn't for him being there and him going, well, it's not in the rule book, so you can do whatever you want, the scene would probably be really, really garbage. And while I do enjoy these movies that have a meaning towards, fuck these rich people, they're all weird, creepy weirdos, I just wish Ready or Not 2 was better. I mean, this movie's supposed to be something first. It's supposed to be an action horror type movie. I just don't get it from this. The action is absolutely lackluster. The kills are fucking horrible. Something I was really excited for, I give the first one a 6 out of 10, I believe. Something I was really looking forward to in this one was how can they up the ante on the kills? How can they do this? Who are they going to be? Who's going to be the new people hunting them? All this stuff. Um, the kills sucked. There's literally no interesting ones aside from maybe the bed washing machine one. But aside from that, yeah, and even that one's not that great. It's kind of funny, but aside from that, it doesn't really show you much. You get like a little shot really quick of the guy lying on the ground dead, but it's really shit. It's really, really bad, and I just didn't like. There's not a single good kill in this. The characters are absolutely annoying. The dialogue, the writing is so fucking abysmal. I mean, every single character interaction is just horrible, and a lot of these lines feel like they're being read off of the script as they're doing their performances. None of none of the dialogue feels authentic or personal. I mean, these two are supposed to be sisters that are finally coming back together, and it really just doesn't feel like that at all in the movie. And obviously, they have their doubts in between the movie, and they get into arguments throughout it, but it just doesn't work. The relationship between them two suck ass, and I don't like the constant flip flopping between them. Um, you have the Yugoslavian lady who just comes and goes, which I thought was funny, but like, is that a setup to a third one? I really don't know. I'm not sure. All the rich people are not interesting or scary in the slightest. The son was okay, but he just falls off. Like the second that marriage, she proposes to him while she's in the freezer, the movie just falls off a cliff. And I don't think there was any other way they could have proceeded with this movie. It is an hour 45. This movie shouldn't have been an hour 45. I don't think they had the content or anything prepared for the last like 30 minutes of this movie. So they're like, fuck it, let's do a marriage sequence, and then she throws the ring into the pit and blah blah blah. This movie just sucked. It probably is a 4 out of 10 realistically. I'm giving it 5 just out of the comedy I think really got me, and it got a lot of people in the theater too. And aside from that, this movie's just really, really rubbish. If you like Ready or Not 2, or sorry, the first one, you might like this one. I don't know. I'm really not even a huge fan of the first one, which I was very disappointed about. But this one's no better. This one really is no better. And for the second movie of the bad this week, which is actually a documentary, is A Thousand Women in Horror. Something I was really looking forward to this week, aside from Project Hail Mary, this probably was my number two. But that or Ready or Not 2, they were tied. But this one I was super excited for. I think Shudder does a really good job at doing their documentaries on minority groups in the horror and how important they are to horror and all this stuff. But this one just doesn't work for me. I really wish it did. I was really looking forward to this. I mean, women are the most important thing to horror. There is the final girl. You have the scream queens. Everything about women in horror movies just carries, absolutely carries. Aside from the killer, which you don't have a lot of woman killers, which sucks, but it's okay because you have these final girls, which are just amazing. I don't know. I just don't feel like they respected it enough, and I think the choice of people they chose to interview for this series were just rubbish. A lot of these obviously just come from Shudder, and it's a bunch of Shudder directors and actors and all this stuff. But surely you could have got other people. I saw, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. I saw Lin Shaye in this, and she was in there for maybe like 5 seconds, and then she's gone, which I thought was very weird because I was really excited to see her thoughts and everything about everything they talk about in this. Rape, periods, women's friendships and everything. But instead, she's just there for like a 2 second bit and then she's gone. I guess they couldn't afford her. I'm not sure. I think this would have been so much better if maybe a bigger company does it, and if it was a docu-series instead of a 90-minute documentary, which doesn't. It just feels like nothing gets. We don't get enough fleshed out for each single segment they do. They do have these transitions for like, baby, childhood, teenage years, adulthood, and I think even a friendship one. It just doesn't feel like we get enough in each one. And even then, when we do get a lot for a segment, it feels like other parts are like flowing in and just making everything confusing. If this was a docu-series where each episode was 40 minutes long and they go into certain aspects of a woman's life and make that an episode, so you have an episode just about the struggles of periods, and then you have an episode on the struggle of pregnancies, you have a struggle on rape, you have the struggle on men following you home. I think all these, it could have been a 5-episode docu-series, but instead they shoved it all down and crammed it into 90 minutes, and it just doesn't work for me. I still think it's okay if you if you're like really dumb and you don't know woman at all or woman in horror. Maybe this is for you. Maybe it's just because I'm too much into horror. I already knew most of this stuff, and it feels like they went for the baby route instead of like, hey, here's here's everything. And no, they just dumbed it down a lot, and it's very unfortunate because they have a queer one, and I believe they have a black one as well. I could be wrong on Shudder, and they're both really good. This one just feels cramped and garbage, which is unfortunate. And then you have Toe. I'm sorry, I gave that a 5 out of 10. And then you have Toe, which is a movie I was a little excited for. I love Rose. She was great. Obviously, she was nominated last year for Actress of the Year. And while I do think she's absolutely phenomenal in this, and is probably the only reason I'm giving this a 5 out of 10, if she wasn't in this movie as any other actress, this movie would be a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's just so generic, boring. I've seen it a million times, and I'm going to say this later again for another movie. But Rose is so unbelievable as an actress. She carries this movie so hard, and she gives a performance that'll be one of the best performances of the year. But it doesn't matter because no one's gonna talk about Toe because this movie's shit. It's just shit. And it was a movie I was looking forward to, but not as much as these two up here. It's just so upsetting. It is really upsetting. I think she did phenomenal. It's just so fucking boring, and that's all I got for Toe. And for the ugly, we sadly have 3 movies this week. None of them are as bad as Scared to Death, but they are very, very shit and boring. Something I was really looking forward to was The Well. I really love post-apocalyptic movies, and I think even last year there was a lot of good ones. Obviously, this year's been a little rough, like with Greenland, But I was looking forward to this, and it sucks. It is absolutely boring, and a problem with all three of these movies, mostly this one and Pout Pout Fish, is I almost fell asleep through them. It's so unbelievably boring. I have seen this exact same movie, probably bar for bar, character for character, a million times. It's not interesting, it's not different, it's not unique, it's nothing. I don't think the performances are outrageously good, I think they're just okay. Uh, there's nothing good here with The Well, and I was very, very disappointed. I'm still giving it a 3 out of 10 because, while it might be something I've seen a million times, at least it's still somewhat, fine. I guess I was just so bored at the fact that I've seen this movie so many times. I could probably get away with sleeping and, have knowledge entirely of this movie. Which is unfortunate. Yeah, I was really looking forward to The Well, but really, really not good. And for the second to worst movie this week, I have, what was this, Dracula's Velvet Lounge, or The Vampire in the Velvet Lounge. This wasn't good. I really have nothing to say about this movie. I thought it was going to be a funny bad movie, but it's really just bad. It just looks like shit. It's poorly made. I don't even know what the fuck to say about this one. This was one of my least favorite ones this week. And if it wasn't for Pout Pout Fish, it might even be lower. But Pout Pout Fish was so bad that this movie's just getting a slight nudge up to 3 out of 10. Because there's still a lot of funny bad scenes, but a lot of this movie is just rubbish and garbage and bad. We'll just get away from that. I mean, I wasn't a fan of this. I don't think you should check it out, but it was so disappointing how horrible it was. And I woke up so early to watch it, and for it to be as bad as it was, I was like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this bullshit. So that sucked. And then last but not least, the only animated movie of the week, to my knowledge, is The Pout Pout Fish. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this, but I said there's no way it's gonna be this bad. I didn't know the reviews or anything for it, but the poster looks like shit, the trailer looks like shit, but I mean, it's a kid's movie. You can't really fuck up that bad, right? No, you can. This is unbelievably boring. Like, really, really boring, to the point where I almost fell asleep in my seat in the theater. And that doesn't happen that much with boring movies. This movie's just so unbelievably boring. It is really just a poorly written SpongeBob episode stretched out to 90 minutes long. Not a SpongeBob movie, just a SpongeBob episode. It feels way too long to get to the point. You have these multiple side plots with characters you don't give a shit about in this movie. The animation's okay. I think the art style is pretty fucking ugly. I mean, as you can tell from the poster, all of these animals, creatures, just look so hideous, except for the Shine. I think she's pretty cool looking. I mean, that's the whole point of her. She's supposed to look pretty and bright and cool, but everything about this movie sucks. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. It's not the worst movie I've seen this year, and I can still see why kids love it, which is why I can't give it a 1 out of 10. I can see the appeal to a child liking this, but I know I'm not a child, but this is horrible. It was just so boring. It was genuinely so boring. I almost walked out. I don't like walking out of movies. I've never walked out of a movie, but I was really tempted, even when there was 20 minutes left, just to go, why am I watching this? I know how this is going to end. I know how this is going to go, and in a year, and I hope my lifetime, I hope I never remember this movie or show it to my kid, because this was horrible. So, unfortunately, there was, a whole row of kids in front of me, and they seemed to be enjoying it. Good for them, but this was really, really bad. Easily the worst movie this week. Enjoyed this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? Let me know in the comments below whether you agree on any of my choices. And if you want me to do a full-length review on any of the movies that I didn't do this week, also let me know in the comments below. Or if I missed a movie, period, that released this week. I always try to watch as many movies as I can, but, not possible all the time. If you want to see past episodes of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly from this year, that should be right here in this playlist right below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that right here. See you guys next week.